Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome. So glad to be with you. That video you just saw with the peacock was when I used to be able to go to Miami and take a few days on Fisher Island, which my friend Lexi Potamkin owns some property there. And I get a chance to spend 2 or 3 days of recuperating. And I remember there's all these peacocks on the island. And I was in the golf cart and I just had to pause and just breathe and just look at their beauty. And in a way, this is the time that we have now for ourselves to pause, breathe, and look at our beauty and the beauty of souls in our lives. People who have meant a lot to us, people who maybe we feel weren't really that much for us, but now we're responsible for them. During this particular time of isolation, we're being offered a prime opportunity to know ourselves more than we've ever have. We're learning so much about who we are. Whether we wish to or not, you are going to learn a lot about yourself during this. My friend Joni Patri, who's an astrologer, shared something very beautiful in her message. I got a link from her latest post. And she says, after this, actually things are going to get better. But it won't be better until around September. So there'll be hard times. May will be one of the most challenging months. And I want you to just remember that the soul is in charge. It has more power than matter. And it has everything to do with the way that you're going to choose to walk into the opening and the May, June, July, August months. If you wish to stay grateful, thankful for the little things that you have, not for the big things you no longer have, not for all the losses that you have, but if you're able to stay thankful for the little things that you do have, we will be able to see this through. Look, I already told you, we don't even know if our museums are going to open up. I have no idea. It's been 2 months, and only one of our landlords has been kind enough to hold at least a little bit for us for a month or 2. And he gets my blessings every single day. Every single day. You know, because we're in service. We're in service. And I've loved being with you every night for the last almost 2 months. It's been 2 months, Santosh? Almost 2 months, right? Since March 16th, so a month and a half. And it's been incredible, hasn't it? I have been humbled and touched to just join you and to learn and to keep myself also above and beyond. To be able to check myself and to see myself deeper. And as you all know, we have Sister Gita here with us, who is what we call antique. We don't call them senior citizens, but we call her an antique model of God's work and God's magic. And for the last few years, she has changed a lot in the last maybe 2 years. We have been seeing, different behaviors. And tonight I want to talk about that because last year we attended a screening with Bishop Carlton Pearson for a movie that he was in at the museum building, but it was another section of the museum building. And I bumped into our dear friend Necole Jones, who you will have a chance to meet tonight. And she and I had parallel stories. And so this evening is about the caregivers. If you've ever had to take care of someone and put your life on pause, this is your show tonight. or if you just want to understand what others go through when they have to really take care of someone when it wasn't in the plan, but they do anyway. I think you're going to really enjoy our time together. And before I move on, I want to mention a friend of ours yesterday, Vijay Ramdan. He and I were together in New York when I was at Global Harmony House, which is the regional headquarters for the Brahma Kumaris. I was a young sister in my early 20s, and Vijay and I used to take care of different activities at Global Harmony House. You know, he would do reception, help me with the cleaning, and we would dance, and I would sing, and I would play with him, and we'd just have such a wonderful time. Yesterday, I happened to be scrolling through a little bit in social media, and I never respond to some of these messages because it's sometimes it gets overwhelming. I keep like, don't like, it's too much, but I give my blessings. But yesterday, everyone, I stopped when I saw Vijay and his family in the picture, and I went, "Oh, happy birthday, all the best to you, keep going," something like that. And today his daughter, Vijay, called to tell me that her dad passed away yesterday. Again, do you understand the mysteries of human karma and how deep we're all connected? Vijay and I were so close at a soul level, and that even though I didn't see him for many years, I might have seen him within the last 22 or 23 years I've been in DC. I think I've seen him maybe 7 times, 8 times. And so now he's moving on to his next destination. So may I ask you to hold 30 seconds of peace for this beautiful spirit. He has never hurted a single person. He's been the kindest, most gentlest human being. And so with all of our love, we extend our blessings, protection, love, and peace for this extremely special soul. And good wishes to his wife and his family too. I couldn't move on the show today without extending my love and appreciation to Brother Ramdan. Just an absolute jewel. We've lost a lot of jewels in the last month. Daddy Janki just a month ago, and now Brother Ramdan yesterday. Life continues, huh? Life continues. So I'm going to play a video for you about what caregivers are going through, and after that I'm going to invite our sweet sister on to have a heart-to-heart chit-chat, Necole Jones. Enjoy this video.
Being a caregiver can be a stressful and exhausting experience. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the amount of energy caregiving requires, not just physical energy, but mental and emotional energy as well. If you're feeling drained by your caregiving situation, your ability to provide proper care may suffer. It's important to pay attention to your spiritual needs and make an effort every day to nourish them. In this episode, we'll talk about what spirituality is, provide some examples of spirit nurturing activities, and explain how being spiritually fulfilled can help you to manage your stress as a caregiver. When most people hear the word spiritual, they think of religion, but you don't need to be religious to be spiritual. Your spirituality is your sense of peace and purpose in life, and your connection to the people around you. Everyone is different, so you should try to find spiritual practices that match your interests and lifestyle. Any activity that brings you a sense of peace, calmness, or renewal is spiritually nourishing. Some common spiritual activities that you may find useful could include prayer or meditation, walking in the beauty of nature, doing creative work with your hands, playing or listening to music, reading inspirational writings, and keeping a daily journal of your thoughts. Many cultures have their own unique spiritual rituals. For example, some First Nations people practice a ceremony called smudging, where sacred plants like sage are burned with the aim of removing negative thoughts and feelings, which are absorbed into the ashes. Fasting is another spiritual practice used by some cultures to strengthen their commitment to their religion. It involves not eating during certain times in order to shift your focus from your body to your faith. Meditative chanting can also help to focus your attention on your spirituality and block out any negative or unproductive thoughts you may be focusing on. Using spiritual rituals that are specific to your background can help you to connect with your heritage and may encourage you to become a more active member of your cultural community. Remember that you are not alone. There are many other caregivers who also get overwhelmed by their caregiving situation and struggle with feelings of loneliness and isolation. It's important to reach out to others for support, whether it's through a cultural ceremony, a social event, or a religious gathering. Connecting with people who are taking care of their spiritual and social needs will make you feel like you're a part of a community and help remind you that your life doesn't always have to be full of stress and worry. It is a demanding job, but with regular spiritual nourishment and the support of your social circle, you can make it more manageable for yourself. So take a bit of time every day and connect with your spiritual side.
Didn't you love that? Wasn't that helpful? Wasn't that absolutely perfect? It was perfect. All right, listen, I'm going to invite my sweet sister on, Necole Jones. She serves youths, educators, entrepreneurs, business owners, faith-based organizations, and community organizations by utilizing instructional training and professional development. Basically, she makes them run better. She also offers strategic planning and lend support through administrative constructs and leadership, public speaking, coaching, writing skills within the educational, corporate, and human service environments. She lives by the name of her company, CARE, C-A-R-E. I believe that one can create a new reality every day. Please welcome Necole Jones. So glad that you could join us today, my sweet sister. Are you with us?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti to you. Thank you. We finally did it, huh?
Yes, finally.
Yeah. Everyone, we were both at a screening for Bishop Carlton Pearson, a movie that he was in called American Heretics. Was that the name of it? Yeah, Necole. So
I think so.
we had bumped into each other, and we had not seen each other, I would say, in about 3 years. Prior to that, we worked on a project called Meditate the Vote, which, as you can see, not many meditated the vote. But anyway, it was a good idea to come together, to be contemplative, to make a conscious choice. But as a result, we parted ways. We ended up getting caught up in so many other things, and my life is so full, her life is full. And so when we bumped into each other at the museum, we just started to talk about our mothers. And I was shocked because I had not really ever spoken about the challenges of taking care of Sister Gita, because I just accepted it. However, there are things that happen inside of you now that you're like, ugh. And what touched me when Necole and I started to talk was we both said, I'm not kind. Remember that time, Necole?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I felt ashamed because I couldn't figure out how to be what my mother needed, and I knew that I wasn't coming from the space that I needed to come from, but I didn't know how to fix it. And that is as transparent as I can be. I love my mother to pieces. She is my hero. I just was frustrated and aggravated, more so not even with her, but with me, because I wasn't showing up the way that I know that I could. I couldn't figure out the balance on how to do that.
So tell me a little bit about your mother. What's her legacy? What has she been like?
So my mother is, she was one of the first Black women on Wall Street in the late 60s, early 70s. And she has worked since she was about 7 years old. She worked, she's from Georgia. She worked in the fields with her parents. Her father was a sharecropper. So she came from a little small town in Sardis, Georgia, and went to New York, worked on Wall Street, and then she migrated to New Jersey, and she worked for the federal government until last year or two.
Wow.
So between then and now, it's been such a transition for her because she's been working her whole life, and her field of study is finance. So she is always on. I mean, her mind is so quick. She's very sharp, always been sharp. And so to go from doing that for your whole life to retirement, and then coming to a place that you've been given instruction and you've been in leadership and you've been telling people what to do, to coming to a point where now you need support.
Yeah.
I get that that's very challenging for her. And for me, trying to find the balance of, not allowing because she's grown. Oh my goodness.
That's okay. That's okay. We got you. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understanding that she's still in charge, but supporting her in her in chargeness, if you understand what that means.
Of course. There was a story that you told me, and I was like, what did she do? Remember, it had to do with money? I think someone had come and had done some work in the house.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
So my mom, what happened was my mom was, my mom in Indiana, and I live in Washington. My mom, I had a feeling intuitively in the spirit. So I'm a minister, so I felt like I needed to call my mother. And when I called her, my mom lives by herself. The police and the ambulance was here. And I said, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, well, I'm not feeling too good. So the policeman said, well, we don't have to take her, but she's confused and stuff is going on. So I made that choice. My husband and I, we flew to Indiana, and we came to make sure she was all right. She went into the hospital. She was there for a couple of weeks. And when I came to the house, I discovered that there was someone that was in my mother's life that was trying to take advantage of her financially. And at that point, I realized that she could no longer, in my opinion, stay by herself, because she is an antique. I wrote it
Antique.
an antique model of God's love.
Yes.
and people take advantage of our seniors.
Yes.
And I was very upset. I was hurt. And so from that point, she came to be with me in DC. Right now, we're in Indiana at her house because she needed to do some things, and we just decided to stay here through the COVID, whatever that looks like.
Yes, whatever that is.
I realized in that point that I needed to give back to her like she gave to me, to protect her.
I think that's one of the things that we feel like as daughters or as children, that especially as only children, because we're both only childs, and we're both only children, and we don't have a brother or a sister to offshoot the responsibility, so to speak.
No.
I have to say that for me, and I don't know about you, Necole, or anyone else who's watching, please feel free to offer some comments or questions. When Sister Gita started to change, I wasn't sure if she was joking, because she's very theatrical. My mother's very theatrical, so I don't know if she was just looking for attention, or if she was joking, or it was just her way of getting attention. And I became frustrated because of that. I was like, come on, behave yourself. You can't do that in public. The last situation I think I told you was when I was speaking at a large church in Nashville, Tennessee. Remember?
I say to my mother, "Mommy, are you serious? I mean, what's happening right now? This is not you. What's going on?"
Yeah.
And then I upset her, and she's saying nothing's wrong, but I'm clear that something's wrong. What I have daughters. When I can get to her, I ask them to call her. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. I know that your system is, I think, is got a little Wi-Fi issue, but we're going to be good, so don't worry. We're going to see it through. One of the things that, and for those of you who are caregivers, especially during the COVID crisis, you are hunkered down with your mother or your father who might have Alzheimer's or dementia, and you're not able to escape much, and you're not able to go anywhere, so to speak, except maybe to the grocery store or maybe to the bank. And Sister Gita, her tendency is, I need to go to the hospital. And as you know, many elders, many antiques who are working on certain things inside, they tend to say the same thing over and over again. And so after a while, you realize, it's a growing process, Necole, because you realize after a while that something is amiss. It's no longer a joke. They're not seeking attention, but they're forgetting something about themselves. And where my empathy emerges is that I ask myself what it must be like when they go in and they wonder, I can't find me. I don't know where I am inside. And that's where a part of me says, let me offer grace. I'm just being selfish. You know, because this is not the way that I want it. This is not how it should be. What happens on many occasions, and I didn't finish my story, I was speaking, everyone, at a large church in Nashville, Tennessee. And after I'm done, all of a sudden we heard Sister Gita performing on the stage, singing Drake. Kiki, you know, I love you. Remember I told you about that? And then the irony was, you know, I was like out of it, and everybody in the audience just loved her. Now, have you found that so many people just love your mom and it doesn't matter how she's behaving? Have you found that your reality and your truth? Can you hear me, Necole? Necole, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Sister Jenna. I can see you, but I know you can't hear.
Okay, 1 second. One of the things I was sharing is that one thing that I've learned is that my empathy comes more and more when I begin to sense that what it must be like for her to be going through this. And I think as a caregiver for her, I've had to become more humble, Necole, and really step out of the way and not think that it's just about me, but it's about us. And what is it that I wish to offer this particular soul so that she can live completely and fully as well. We're just trying to get Necole back on. So can you hear me now?
Can you see me? I can hear you. Can you?
I can see, but could you turn your phone a little for me? The phone is, I don't know, somehow the picture's a little,
Okay.
yeah. So it's been very interesting, everyone. Yeah, you're perfect. You know, it's very interesting for the caregivers to have to prepare themselves to deal with a loved one who doesn't know who they are anymore. Like, they can't find themselves inside. What has been the way that you have looked on your situation being a caregiver for your mother?
So I remind her constantly of who she is and who she's been um, in the workplace, at home, in ministry. I keep reminding her of how great she is, and then I ask my girls to remind her as well and tell them from their vantage point, and my husband from their vantage point, who she's been to them, so that she can gravitate to that part of herself instead of the negative woes of life. Because what I've learned is through life, when we get older, if we have unresolved conflict, or we have had a lot of stuff going on in our lives, if we didn't address the stuff internally, then it's going to show up in really, really badly when you get older.
Totally agree with that.
Those things will just repeat and repeat and repeat, and you can't change it, but you go into a place of regret, and then that regret causes regression. And I combat that with talking to her, trying to coach her around it, praying for her, and just trying to love on her the best way that I can. I relaxed a lot from the frustration from where I was before, that I was ashamed of myself.
I
but
too.
That's how I've been trying to combat that for her.
I too. I remembered one time Sister had done something, and I was just without virtues, and we were going in a car, and there were a lot of people around, and I don't get flustered very, very easily. And then while we were in the car, Sister Gita says, "You owe me an apology." She was coherent enough to know that. And I'm driving and I go, I can't. Not until I've forgiven myself. And so the whole drive along the way, Necole, I'm thinking about, why am I ruining me? Because I can't control what she's going through or where she is. So it's been an interesting learning curve, because I had to break my attachment and really amplify my pure love for her. Now I know that in your case, you hadn't been with your mom for 30 years. What were some of the adjustments that you had to make as a caregiver?
So for me, I got married really young and had children. My husband was military, so we've lived in and out of the country. We've not lived in the same space with any of our families since 1993.
Wow.
And so coming back in and being in a position to be not only staying with my mom, but the same house, very different. But my husband, my husband made a declaration last year that he was tired of being a lone wolf, that he wanted family around. He was tired of us living without family. So because of his, you can have whatsoever you say. That's the Bible. So
be careful what you ask for.
Since that point, we've been, exactly, but we've been around all of our family. Our fathers, his mother has gone on to be with the Lord, so she's here, but, and with my mom, and my mom is with me. So learning how to be, so the last time I lived with my mother, I was still a child. So she was in charge, she was the boss, it was her way, no way. So I'm a grown woman with a family, a husband, my own business, all of that, but trying to switch that light on to really realize, no, you're grown up. You get to have a say about whatever this is. That was child. The last time I lived with her, she was the boss of my life, because she's the mother. She's always the mother. So the mothers are always the boss, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then learning how to be a mother and a daughter at the same time has been a really interesting journey. Because I'm my daughter's and my son's mother, and then to some degree I'm mothering my mother, but then I have to be her daughter too. So I do get to listen to her and honor her, but then making her safe, that's when I'm stepping into the mother role as well.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate dance.
It is. I remembered for me,
30 years of...
you know, for me, I have to tell you that and I don't know if Sister Gita will remember it, but I have not been disrespectful to Sister Gita at all growing up. And perhaps I can remember maybe 2 or 3 occasions where I wasn't respectful. And even though she was like your mom, at 7, she lost her mother. She had actually gone into orphanages. She had to really provide for herself and her younger sisters. She's had it very, very tough. So there are a lot of things that still she's holding on in the soul. And Necole, I almost think I made up for all those years of being a good kid. When I became an adult and that first year and a half with her, I lost my record. And I felt awful.
Yeah, I get that.
How do you reconcile that feeling, especially for the caregivers who are watching, who feel like they're helpless and that they should know better and they shouldn't yell at their parents or be aggressive or just speak to them kind of condescendingly? How did you reconcile that feeling inside of you?
Well, prayer and meditation. Seriously, sitting down, being honest with myself, and telling myself, okay, Necole, you need to get yourself together, because you are acting out. And why are you acting out? So I was asking myself questions. Why are you acting out? How is this serving you? How is this serving her? Are you being selfish? So I asked myself a whole lot of questions, because I did not want to dishonor her. And I didn't want to dishonor the Lord, because I believe it's God's will that I serve my mother right now. So if I'm aggravated and frustrated and angry and all of those things, I'm not doing God's will in this life, what he wants me to do, because I have an attitude because she didn't do what I said. Or like during the coronavirus, we only go out to go to the grocery store. We have cameras in now, and she goes into the mailbox, and I'm calling her fussing. Why did you go outside? Why did you open the door? And when you don't have a mask on, so I have to pull myself back in. And
I'm doing the same thing here.
She's the mother. She's the mother, and then that's not respectful. So then I have to apologize. Mommy, I'm sorry. I'm not upset with you. I'm just scared. I don't want you to hurt yourself, and I don't want anybody to hurt you. So that's how I've been coping.
I think I've done the same. I go in, now I'm really good. I'm much better. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm so much better. I'll rate myself a 7 now. Compared to how I was before, I come a 7, accept, because it wasn't making me feel good. But girl, let me tell you, when Amazon come to the door of FedEx, and she's opening that door. Oh, come on in. Would you like some tea? Would you like coffee?
Oh, Lord.
And we're just like...
I mean... Yeah, the other day, she got the package from the FedEx man. And I said, Mom, why? She said, I said, did the man have on a mask? No. I said, but did you have on one? No. Did you have gloves on? No. I said, Mom.
I know. The concern.
But I mean, it's not mindless. It's not like I don't believe that she did it just to do the opposite of what I just didn't think about it. No. Just doing what she would typically do if I wasn't here. She's been here, living alone, taking care of her household for all of these years. Now I'm invading her space, if you will. I think she hasn't said that she will feels like I've taken her power. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I just want her to be safe.
Yeah. So, Necole, you've got your company that you
Trying
run.
to navigate that.
You've got your company that you run, Care.
Yes.
You've got children. You have a husband. And you've got you. And now you've got to take care of Mom. Tell us, what are some of the steps that you're taking to somehow find your balance, to be able to cope, especially during this time when everyone is hunkered down with each other?
So, anybody that knows me, especially in church, I'm an intercessor. So, one of the safest place that I find is in prayer. And that balances me out. And sometimes I don't like what I hear in prayer when I'm talking to God and God is talking to me, because He's showing me what I'm doing right or wrong. Have a blueprint to walk forward or to back up from. And then I love to read, so I find space to read. And more importantly, during this time, I've been quiet and very contemplative about what next steps look like in life and in the world, and what do I get to do. So I find those times, those spaces that I get to just be quiet. Years ago, I was in my this pastor told me that it's not the quantity of time that you spend or with yourself, it's the quality of, and I live my life by that. So whenever I get a moment, I try to make it be quality. I can get the that time.
Yeah, that's great. Sometimes caregivers carry a little bit of guilt. The guilt that they're not taking care of themselves enough. The guilt that maybe they're not taking care of their loved ones to their best ability. Or the guilt that I don't want to be doing this. Any advice?
Well, guilt ties your whole life. So living under the shadow of guilt will not allow you. My father talks about that emotions, don't follow them, they're not real. Even if they're good emotions or bad, if you follow them down a road, either way, you will land yourself in a shipwreck. So I understand being real with yourself about how you feel, but instead of staying under the shall and I do to make this better for the person I'm caring for and for myself. And then look at however you're feeling. Like I said earlier, I had to look at what my behavior was, because I'm a student of behavior. So what's driving this behavior? So I was driving it. Are you being selfish?
Yes.
I do an exercise with an iceberg. Everybody sees the tip of the iceberg, but you don't see what's below that. And what's below that is everything you're feeling, you're thinking. So what's driving this particular bad behavior that you don't like? You feel guilty for a reason. So what is the reason? Is it because you're upset because when you were young, your mother didn't give you whatever it was that you thought that you needed? Is it because you feel like this is your time in your life that you're supposed to be doing living your best life? Is it, just
those thoughts can drive you crazy, huh?
Pressing down and saying they can. So don't stay in that place, because it's not going to be equitable for anyone if you stay in that place.
Halfway into when Sister Gita was changing, I would say maybe the first 6 or 8 months, Necole, where my frustration was coming from, one, yes, her behavior was becoming quite interesting, but I remembered feeling this, and I knew this was the reason why I couldn't stay in my power of peace when I wanted to. And I hope everyone can hear this, because it seems very simple, and maybe it might not even make any sense to you, but I want you to give it thought. I realized that why I would be frustrated and non-celebratory regarding taking care of somebody who has done a great job as a mother was that I had a desire. And my desire was, I don't want to do this. But the reality of the destiny says, but it's appointed to you. You will have to do it. It's sort of like being in a job you don't want to be, but you're only going there for a paycheck. So when I started to observe myself and go, why would I not want to take care of this beautiful spirit? And like you said, there's sometimes this element of selfishness or self-serving. But I started to feel that even if my desire seemed reputable, that I've got the world to serve here. I've got lives that are depending on me. I can't just take care of this one person for hours upon hours. I've got to go out there and serve the world. And as I kept thinking about this, everyone, at a much deeper level, it was as if God, Baba, said to me, you will not be a good server unless you can serve her. And that was like, I had no desires. It's like, I am willing to do this. This is my assignment. And now I actually enjoy it. I find it to be a great pleasure. I'm pleased of the level of detachment and love that's still there. I have moments, especially when I'm on the radio and she comes in a room and touches me and slaps me up and gives me these pats or asks me a question that has no relevance to my interview at the moment, or just her little behavior. And now I'm just in a place of acceptance, acceptance. What about you? I mean, I know you've told me what it has felt, but for me, it was the desire that made me not be present to fulfill this duty and this appointment that I've been given by destiny, and I think that's very powerful. I want to turn to the comment list and see if anyone has any thoughts or questions that they would like to ask us on air, and Necole or myself could answer it if you're interested. Okay, so a lot of folks have been having some good experiences. Good. Is anyone who's watching or listening have someone that they're actually taking care of now? And are you challenged? Are you okay? Do you need anything? We're a big support. I tell you, when I spoke to Necole and I realized that our stories were parallel, it gave me such solace. It's not that I was bottling up what I was feeling with Sister Gita, but I had not heard someone go through the identically same experience that I was going through. And I went, I can't believe this. It's the same thing I'm going through. Yeah. So, any questions?
For me, one of the
No, go ahead, Necole. Go ahead.
Well, for me, what I choose to do with most things that I do in life, I do an exercise, get to versus have to. And because if you say I have to do something, it feels like there is a
compulsion, burden,
weighing you down. It's burdensome when you have to. But when you change your language and say, I choose to, I get to do this, this is my honor to do it. Just what you say changes how you think about it, and then it changes how you do it. And in what you say and then how you think about it makes it different. The assignment is the same, but it doesn't have as much heat around it when you change
the language,
what you think about it, and certainly what you say about it.
It's beautiful. Now, there's some folks who...
That's helped me.
That's a great answer. There's some folks who are caregiving by themselves. They don't have many people to help to support them, whether it's a child or it's an elderly parent. What should they do to get help and support? Like, I have support, you have support, but there are some folks who just have themselves and the person or the child that they have to take care of, and it's hard for them. What can we tell them? Prayer?
So I would, I would tell them to pray. to find even a spiritual community that they could connect with, that could support them. Because I'm caring for my mom now, but I have children, and my youngest was a preemie. She was very sick, and we were in Japan alone. So we connected with our church, and they supported us through that very difficult, challenging time, because they were telling us every day that the baby was going to die. And we were alone in our 20s, scared to death. So connect with, if you can, pray, try to find a place to bring yourself some balance and peace. Sister Jenna, you have a whole library of meditations that can center them and guide them towards peace, but find that space.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say, a lot of times we feel like we are dishonoring someone saying that we need help, or we go to a place that I can do it by myself. I can do it by myself. I had to be delivered from saying that I could do everything by myself. Being an only child, which you
Me
know,
too. Yes.
you know, we're used to doing it
Standing
all
up on
alone.
our own 2 feet.
And so that's my go-to. Mm-hmm. That's my go-to. And my husband and my daughters have told me, you've got to ask us for help. You can't do it alone. So ask for help, because you can't give the care that you need to give if you're burned out.
Question. And we have a wonderful question from Yvette in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yvette says that she takes care of her sister and her father, and they live cross country in California. So she has to go back and forth from Puerto Rico to California quite regularly. She's finding it very challenging. Any advice?
Yes, I understand that. Again, I am in Indiana right now. And I live in Washington, D.C. My advice to her is to just pause and take a moment and breathe, because it can be very overwhelming. You cannot be in 30 places at one time, even though you would want to. And be kind to yourself. That was something that I wasn't doing, and I meant to say that earlier. We talk about feeling guilty, but we beat ourselves up because of what we know, but we don't honor ourselves to tell us what we're doing right. So especially when they're far away from us, we can't get our hands on them as quickly as we want to. That lends for a lot of anxiety. So when Yvette feels anxiety, just pause, breathe to music or something. And what I did with my mom, I got to know her neighbors that were around her. So I enlisted them to make sure that she was okay when I'm not here.
That's nice.
So I have of needs. So if I'm not here, if it, like, say for instance, she doesn't answer the phone, she would do that to me all the time. I was a nervous wreck. I would call her neighbor, or she has a maid, or her handyman guy, and then I gave keys to people that I trusted, because if I'm not there, if something happens, she's not answering the phone, somebody could go in the house and check and make sure she's okay. So that's the way it worked for me.
That's a good idea, and because I know you as well, I feel that we have to reach a point within ourselves that we know that we have offered our best, and that there will be times that you will be okay with a no, and I can't. And that's when you're stepping into your power, into your relationship with God, knowing that they will find people to take care of them. And that even though we think we're the only people who are in their lives to take care of them, I believe the universe is so just that there will always be someone to take care of them. Now, the irony of me telling you that story is that I will joke around and tell Sister Gee to see, At least you have a daughter. I don't have any kids. No one's going to take care of me when I get home. But then I would joke with her, I would joke with her and say that, you see how lucky you are? And I would just really laugh with her. But you will trust that the universe will take care of them. And Yvette, I really need you to recognize this, that it's not just you anymore taking care of them. You have made that decision to say you are the only one to take care of them. And how about if you say, I will take care of them to my best ability, knowing that I will give my best and my all. And when it's time to say no, and you've set up other people out there in California that will support them and what have you, there will be help. Because haven't you noticed that when you start to give too much, and then, I don't want to call you like a micromanager, but when you're not there and it's not like this, it's not like this, everything can get on your nerve. Didn't they feed? Didn't they change their diaper? Okay, they don't want to change their diaper. Okay. We have to let go. We have to let go. Because what I've noticed is many of our brothers and sisters who might be in a state of Alzheimer's or dementia, there's a world that they are living inside which is kind of calming or removed or like, I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? I could be wrong because each case is different. But there's something about them that it just seems as if they're almost okay. They're like, okay. Any thoughts, Necole, before we come to a close that you'd like to share with folks? I mean, you're juggling business, you're juggling kids, juggling a husband, juggling a mom. You said prayer and meditation is a way you take care of yourself, and that you're practicing to be more kind with yourself. Any other way that you're nurturing yourself?
I sing all. I'm very musical, and I realized that I had somehow taken music out of my everyday practice and and I love music, always have. I am infusing that back into, man, I can tell the difference. I wake up and put music on, and I have it on in some way, and it's calming for me. Our lives is a musical. If anybody that knows us knows, at any moment we'll work out in harmony.
I love that.
So, peace. Oh yeah, it could be. We'll just start singing about the bus, and we'll all start singing the bus in harmony, and it brings so much joy. So find what brings you joy. Something. Find joy in something. If it's in reading and singing and music, and I love to cook. In cooking, find something that brings you joy. And even so, cooking, I'm cooking for my mother and my husband and my children when I'm at home. But because I love that, find joy in it. Yeah. I know that you guys teach the way to cook is very different than I ever heard before, but it's true. My dad said he doesn't eat mean food, so if someone is serving him food and they have a bad attitude, he won't eat it. Yeah. Because he said it'll make him sick. So that's the same way that you guys teach. So find something that brings you joy.
Yeah. It's so funny. We have so many parallel stories. I am a lover of music, and I've been trying to find windows to learn the piano and the guitar. And Santosh knows me, like if I have 10 or 20 minutes, I'm either doing a little video or I just want to keep learning. And I've noticed that those things give me joy that I'm happy enough to deal with when maybe, my sweet sister Geeta does something and we just can't handle it. But I've noticed that Santosh and I go back and forth. Like he's usually Mr. Contentment. He wins the prize on contentment. And when I see him a little flustered, he can bank on me to be absolutely cool. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Then when he sees me flustered, I'll bank on me to be the cool one. So again, these are the ways that we can help each other out as a family too, to just support each other. One of the things that I like that Necole said, you really want your parents or your child to enjoy these days. And again, it must be kind of hard to not know where you are up here. And I can't imagine what that feels like. So one thing that I'd like to offer as an advice to all of you out there as caregivers, try your best not to serve the weak behavior or the weakness that you see in your parent or your child or your spouse or the person that you're taking care of, because that thought of their behavior and weakness is a pollution. And when you start to pollute your mind and have to take care of something that you're thinking is a pollution, you won't be satisfied. That's one thing. The second thing, and it's something that we do a lot here for her, we'll just send her a blessing and good vibrations from across the room. When she least knows it, and my blessing to her is open up her intellect and heart that she knows she's healthy. Open up her intellect and her heart that she knows she's healthy. And I just keep sending those vibrations. She's fine. She's great. She's going to be amazing. She's going to make the impossible possible. And I believe that as you keep infusing these vibrations into the souls that are living with you, they will eventually start to feel comfort and will somehow get a signal that maybe I can do better. Any closing remarks from you, my sweet sister?
I live by that we are not our behavior, so people around us are not their behavior either. So even though the behavior is the biggest thing that you see, realize that that's not who they are. They may have done what you said they've done, but they are not who we say they are. They are the kindest, loving person that you ever want to know, and relearn who that person is that you loved before. Relearn that and love them at the purest state. Their behavior is their behavior. That's not who they are.
Necole Jones, thank you so much for joining us for our Spiritual Vaccine Hour. I really appreciated you taking the time to join us, and that we got to fulfill our conversation about us having a dialogue about this. So we finally did it, even though it's almost a year and a half later. We did it.
Shanti, thank you.
Thank you, my dear. All the very best. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Take care. That was Necole Jones, really a sweet-hearted lady and real, genuine. Really loved working with her on the Meditate the Vote project, hoping that as the year goes by, we'll be able to do more amazing things together. But if you want more information, just go to her website. Santosh will put it in on the comment list. It's Necole Jones. You can also find her on LinkedIn for some of her training and activities. I hope today offered you some, insightful steps or tips that can help you through such an incredible time with a loved one. Again, I owe a lot of my strength and courage for my meditation practice and love for God and just sheer knowledge about karma. And I'm telling you this, and this is absolutely truthful, I wouldn't trade Sister Gita for anything in the world. And yes, I would love for her to be more of my partner and teach like she used to teach and uplift people in the way that she used to do with words. But when you're with her and you're in her company, she naturally uplifts you because of her vibrations. And I'm honored to have that appointment to take care of such an angel. So to all the caregivers out there, lots of blessings, lots of pure feelings, lots of good wishes. Hang tight. Remember what Necole shared. Listen to music, sing, play, find a way to be kind, journal. Check out the behavior. It's not the person. The person is really a sweet soul, kind, loving. Try to find what's good about it. And don't forget, it's all about karma too. So if I treat souls in a good way, the universe has my back. They've got to take care of me. They've just got to take care of me. And they got to take care of you. So be patient. Take a breath. Take a breath. And congratulate yourself for taking care of them. And feel like it's an honor. Okay? All right. Tomorrow we're going to do our first spiritual vaccine Zoom. So we should have that on our website. And I think Santosh will also send that out on the Gmail, and it'll be on, I think, the Facebook. So then you can sign up on wherever they're going to put it. But we're going to do, for the first time, we'll have our face-to-face time together, and I can see some of you. I'm sorry that we didn't give advance notice, but maybe for the next week, Thursday, we'll have more advance notice, so there'll be more of us on. But please join us tomorrow if you happen to be available and free. And remember your Zoom etiquette. Make sure your video's on, muted when you come on, so that we can have a really spiritual, awesome time. And I can guarantee you we're going to have a really good time tomorrow. The topic is on being happy or finding happiness. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Take care of yourselves. Here's a lovely video for all the caregivers out there. This song and this meditation is specially just for you. So take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, and know that you're deeply appreciated. Thank you so very much. Take care. All the best. Be peaceful. Be kind.
Thank you for your inspiration.